Hi, everybody. Mark Hinderliter here. I am the founder of a consulting company called Third Way Incorporated in Texas. And in my business, we work with small and mid-sized companies to really help them align their people strategy to their business strategy. Today, companies really have to compete for talent, to attract talent, to retain talent. In today's work world, it is a game changer. So that's what we do at Third Way Inc. Today is my first live stream, really just talking about the issues of today. And the issue of today is called, it's written about, it's called the Great Resignation. I am calling it the Great Retention, so that we can bring some positive ideas to leadership and branding and culture and all those kinds of things that are really important in today's work world. So my guest today, I am bringing her on screen, is Carol Kaemmerer. Hello, Carol.
Hello, Mark. It's so good to see you.
It is good to see you. Carol and I are trusted colleagues within the C-Suite network. So let me just give you a little background for Carol. Like lots of other very talented people, Carol got shockingly bad news one day and turned it into a great opportunity, turned lemons into lemonade. So surprise downsizing, Fortune 500 company where she served as a consultant. She found that 20 years of marketing and communications experience provided a great setup for helping professionals build their online brand. And I am realizing that is becoming more and more important, Carol. We live in an online world, yeah. But many brilliant leaders are unable to articulate their brand effectively on LinkedIn. And that was the weak link to their online reputation. And just a comment here, I've seen both sides of that, Carol, where some people that I know are really effective leaders, high-level leaders. And if you look them up on LinkedIn, you're kind of underwhelmed, right? And other leaders, I've got a client in St. Louis that they do an amazing job of not only branding the CEO, but the company as a great place to work. They do a super job on LinkedIn. So since 2011, Carol's focused her communication expertise on helping C-suite execs and senior leaders use their LinkedIn profile powerfully, just like we were talking about, so that they can position themselves, so they can brand themselves as the talented people they are. Carol is the author of LinkedIn for the Savvy Executive, originally published in 2016 and republished again recently. So Carol, welcome to the Great Retention.
Thank you so much. You know, that's such a more positive way to put things. And I know that companies need people like you to help that to become a reality.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. It's a mind shift. It is a total mind shift of, for my whole career, employers had the upper hand. I mean, 35-year business career, it was always the employer had the upper hand. Well, that's upside down, just like much of the world is. So employees are employees are now in the driver's seat in terms of their options. And so that's why we hear about the Great Resignation or the Great Upgrade. People are leaving their jobs for better ones, and some people are just leaving the workforce because they're kind of done with it. So, Carol, I know you have a lot of expertise in branding, specifically on LinkedIn, but I follow a lot of your writings on LinkedIn as you do mine, and I know that you have a deep understanding of leadership and culture and how all that fits together.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So let me just kind of throw one at you here. So I understand why leaders in job transition need to have a great profile. They're marketing themselves, right? When they're out there looking. But why is it important, Carol, for a C-suite leader or any senior leader who has a job, who has a role, to have a great presence on LinkedIn?
So it's important not only to their career, because people are looking all the time to figure out, well, what kind of person is this?
Yeah.
But also it's important for the company, because more and more the people that are participating in the resignation part of
Yeah.
this great adventure is they're looking for the right boss, the right leader who leads with heart. And if you haven't put anything into your profile that would indicate that that's you, you're not going to attract that talent. I work with people who are interested in exercising their rights right now to upgrade their profile and maybe just be a passive candidate, just be out there. And they're telling me they're not going to move unless they find an awesome carrot, not a financial carrot, but the right team, the right leader, the right passion, all of that stuff we can convey with power right within our profile. When I write a profile for a C-suite executive or a senior leader, I always build in that know, like, and trust factor, because this is your best marketing material ever. And it's important not only for the person themselves, but for the company to attract and retain talent.
Yeah.
People love to see senior people who have passion. So many C-suite people have such a skeletal profile that you wonder what it is they stand for.
Yeah.
And that doesn't serve them well.
It does not. You're reminding me of a CEO named Gary Ridge. Gary is the CEO of WD-40. And he has probably one of the greatest presence on LinkedIn that I've seen of a well-known CEO. He's always talking about his company. He's always talking about their culture. He's always talking about customer testimonials. And to me, what Gary does is make his company a talent magnet.
Yes.
And so I'll tell you, it's funny that you said that, people are looking for a great boss. I'm not kidding you. This very morning, Carol, literally a couple hours before you and I got on this live stream, I was doing a little career coaching with a young woman, and she said, I get that, I should be looking for a job skill fit and, things that I'm naturally good at. What's the most important thing I ought to be looking for? And it's the same career coaching I've given my whole career. Find a great boss. Or a great leader. Boss is an outdated word, because working for a great leader will do more to accelerate anybody's career than anything else in my 35 years.
That is so true. That is so true. And really, people are usually fine staying where they are until they find that person.
Yeah.
The problem is there are some great leaders who have nothing to indicate that in their profile.
Yeah.
And that is just tragic, I think, because they're failing to attract those people because, of course, people are using LinkedIn to find those great leaders. Yeah. So it's, let's get that together so that it works for the leader, for the company, and for the talent that they're hoping to attract.
So let me ask you a question from both sides of the coin. What mistakes do you see leaders make that make them underwhelming as a LinkedIn presence? And what are some things they can do to really show LinkedIn lookers, probably not a term, but that this is somebody they ought to look at in terms of a leader in a company? So both sides of that. What mistakes and what do you see people who do it really well?
Okay. So mistake is not realizing that this is a way people can find you 24/7, and they're actually looking and they are actually trying to find you. So examples of failing to take it seriously would be a ho-hum picture of yourself,
Yeah.
no banner image, but more important, an empty or two-sentence about section.
Yeah.
The about section is where we tell our business story, and it's where we get to show our passion, our business passion, what it is that excites us about our job, and why you should be excited about it. Working for somebody with passion. If it's not there, it's just not there. And that skeletal profile is what I see so often among top leaders, and it just breaks my heart because they are failing to capture the hearts and minds of people that are trying to capture, whether it be customers or business partnerships or talent.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the number one thing. You said the other was, how do you know that you should be looking at this person? Is that correct?
Yeah, it's what do you see people doing? What coaching do you give? Because I know you do this
Okay.
to help really
Yes, yes.
upgrade that presence.
Right. Okay. So on the other side, once you've got your fabulous profile, which I can make simple for people by working with them and writing for them. But once you do that, it is the behaviors that you exhibit online that are important. So one of the things that is so easy to do and is so impactful is following the people that amplify a position that you hold. Um, if somebody is writing in an area that is tangential or equal to yours, don't consider them a competitor. Consider them a collaborator. Add value when you are communicating. I have my heart broken a lot. I was going to say it breaks my heart to see somebody say, "Great article, Carol."
Yeah.
It's like, could
Yeah.
you not think of something to make that more interesting? Um, Great article, Carol, does not communicate any value. It doesn't draw your particular network to look to see what I wrote. But if you say, if I've written a list article, if you say, Carol, I found point number 3 to be so true in my consulting relationships with companies, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
and then we can have a dialogue, and it amplifies, it lifts me up, it lifts you up, it unites both audiences, yours and mine, and makes us a stronger presence. And so that's the kind of person, the thoughtful kind of person that you want to follow and perhaps work with, perhaps work for.
Yeah.
So that's a behavior. Another behavior is posting yourself. Using your thought leadership and sharing it with others, because people love to read what it is we think. It's just, so much of what's out there is not all that exciting. But when you see a leader opining, essentially writing a letter to the editor on LinkedIn, it's exciting. And so I think that that marks a leader, somebody to pay attention to. It is someone who is actively interacting with others, who is actively acknowledging others and their presence on the platform and encouraging others to do the same.
I've had several people tell me I struggle with writing. I always get stopped. I'm stopped by not starting. And
Yes.
right.
Yes.
And I guess my advice, maybe yours is different or probably better, is you don't have to write Moby Dick. Just write, write, and people are going to read that. Just write small snippets from your heart, right?
Yes.
A success story, a recognition of a colleague, a proud accomplishment in your company, that kind of stuff that just brings positivity to the world, because good Lord, we have enough garbage out there. So what's your advice to people who kind of are reluctant to just write?
So I think practice is helpful. And if they would practice commenting, the concept is to always add value. Once they see that it's okay to write something, even if they're writing on someone else's, post, they're commenting, and they see that they are getting some engagement just with their comment.
Yeah,
I think that emboldens us to begin to write. Write like you talk.
yeah,
I think that really works when we write from the heart using big Harvard Business School words is not working. Writing from the heart is much more personal. And I don't know, start.
Yeah. The hardest step is the first one, right?
Yes.
Here's a mistake. I'd love to hear your comment that I think exists, and that is a senior executive thinking social media is HR's job or marketing's job.
Oh,
What do you see?
what I think is that it is everyone's job, and the senior people, when you can tell that they have written it by themselves, it's so much more exciting.
Yeah.
People want to buy from people and not from companies. And so when a senior executive takes it on themselves to write something, it has so much more impact. It is so much more genuine, feeling, acting. It is exciting, because those people who are not doing well online do well in person.
Yeah.
You see them walk into the room and there's presence. Take that presence online, because that's where we are right now. We are online.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a big part of attracting talent today, right? Is LinkedIn?
It is
huge part of just being able to demonstrate that we're the kind of company that you ought to look at. I'm the kind of leader that you want to have a conversation with.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's important.
Yeah. So you help people do this kind of stuff. What's a good first step for somebody who says, "Yeah, got it, need to upgrade here"?
Okay. Well, if the person is at a senior level and they're looking to really have some executive help,
Yeah,
That's what I do. I work with executives one-on-one, and we don't just, in 45 minutes come up with the perfect prose. I spend the first hour of our first 2-hour meeting listening to their story so that I can put it together and so that I can channel their voice. Then the next thing that we do is we spend a lot of time, another hour, on their skills section. Not that they don't have skills, but they're not in their skills section.
Right.
One of the things is the LinkedIn skills have really matured over time. So, whereas in 2002, we might have picked leadership, now we have 15 flavors of leadership that we can pick, and we can pick several to indicate that leadership is really important. And each one that we pick brings with it another keyword. So it's like, a multiplier effect of using keywords effectively. Then I write, and I give my client a day to look at what we've written. We get back together, we tweak anything, and then we spend time together talking about strategy. How do you use this incredibly important platform? How can we leverage it? How can we be strategic in the way that we demonstrate our unique perspectives online, because online is where people are. So that's the way that we do that. I also have my book, LinkedIn for the Savvy Executive, Promote Your Brand with Authenticity, Tact, and Power. It's available in its second edition, published just last January.
Yep.
And I have an online course for people who want to do it themselves.
Okay. So good options. Yeah. On the screen, I've got Carol's website, carolkaemmerer.com. And I want to encourage people who really want to. So here's how these dots connect to me, Carol. I'm talking about the Great Retention, and you're talking about how to get attention in the Great Retention, for the Great Retention.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Or for anything else.
Well, sure. To me, it's branding's an overused word, but that's kind of what it is. So when people are job hunting, one of the things they do is look up the company and look up the executives, and
Absolutely.
and that's part of the investigative process for somebody who's looking. And when we want to be talent magnets, this is a big part of this.
It is.
Yeah. Well, Carol, great conversation. Again, Carol's website is at the bottom of the screen. Thanks for the conversation.
So much fun, Mark. Always. I appreciate you so much. Thank
you, Carol. And folks, thanks for listening in.